WROCC, helping you with Acorn and RISCOS computing.
We're starting. Can you see that presentation all right?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Spent all afternoon doing this, so hope it doesn't go wrong. Basically, a little bit of background, first of all. There are basically 4 programs in the Impact suite of programs installed, if you want, whichever way you want to call it. The main one, of course, is Impact, sometimes called Impact 3. Imp Email, which is mainly used for mail merging emails and doing attachments and sending out various things. Lab Print, which is label printing, which can be done separately or as part of within Impact, and Draw Print, which also you can get separately and use it to print large draw images far bigger than the normal page, so you can make tile sheets up. Now, a little history of Impact. Impact originally started life as Impact Pro, Impact Lite, and Impact Major, produced and sold originally by John Skingley of Circle Software. He then got CJ Micro to market it for him when it became a bit too much for marketing for him by himself. But then in 2003, Synominy, mainly Matthew and Hillary, took over the development and marketing of the software. And since then, it's greatly been expanded in facilities and added additional programs such as Imp Email and that. And now those 3 separate programs have effectively been merged into one program just called Impact at the end of the day. How was I introduced to it? Well, back before our first Wakefield show, that'll be about 95, 94. Basically, it was introduced to be Impact Major before it was taken over by CJ and Synominy by our late member Mike Wilson. For those of you who remember him, been with the club a long time. He used it to create the original club membership database and also the RISCOS companies database, which we created for organising the Wakefield show later on. And we shared the databases. I bought a copy and he sent me copies of the database, and then we exchanged the updates to be merged into the databases. But then since that point, the database has evolved quite a lot over the years from the original thing. It had been updated, modified, rebuilt, and lots of tweaking. Over the years, I found out more about the scripting and all the facilities you can do. In fact, I found something new today I hadn't realised was there. So I'll be implementing that on the live databases. Basically, it's gone for a lot of things and keeps us on top of things membership-wise. It's used for maintaining our membership records, who've got access to the website, who gets on the mailing list, who gets the newsletters, has your email addresses, and all who's got what computers and everything that we get from your membership form. Obviously, I'm not going to be showing you the live database, but I can't do that. But I've got an almost empty template, so I can show because it has a lot of the features in it that we want to show. Now, get it right. Some of the things I'm hoping to show you tonight, if I get it right, is creating a database. Obviously, need to create a database. Merging a record from to PDF via print PDF from Steve Friant, and using the PostScript 3 driver You can work with PostScript 2 as well, but I tend to use PostScript 3. Also showing working with the email and our attachments. Adding another linked database, or database card, as they call it, thinking so you have multiple cards. Amending an existing database format and layout so you can change it without losing data, hopefully. Merging data to Ovation Pro and possibly Impression. I'll come to a bit about that in a minute. Exporting data in various ways, the various choice options, label printing, and exporting to draw. That pretty much covers a large area of the stuff. Hopefully I'll have time to cover it all. But some of the other things, just so you have a thing, you can actually get a copy of Impact on a try before you buy basis from their website. Basically, it is the full program, but you can't save new databases or permanent records with the demo version. It does come, though, with the HTML version of the manual, plus the various tutorial files. For information, I'll mention it now. What does it cost? Well, the current version is 3.66, fairly recent. The full price for a new single user license is £36. Upgrading, depending on the version, some of them are free upgrades, but where there's been major changes, it might be just a £5, or going back to, if you've still got a real old Impact Major or something like that, it's 27 quid. They do have support. They have a dedicated mailing list for it all, provided through Viscosity. And also they will obviously respond to email direct or via their contact form on the website. The program, of course, had built-in HTML format help pages, and there's also a PDF version and a strong help version of the manual. The HTML one comes by default with the program. PDF one and strong help one you can download from the website. They do provide what they're calling resources update file, which will provide the latest Acorn SSL module and a couple of other things that are useful with program, especially for email side and that, if you haven't already got the latest versions. Basically, that is the so now let's have a little look at the software in action. Now I'm going to try and change screen sharing. So let's see if I can stop this share and change over to the other one. Oops. Get the right screen, hopefully. Hopefully you can see that screen now. It's actually my new 4TE2 thing, so it's I've been having fun getting all across the bits and pieces I want to show. Email's not live, it's only nothing will go out from the thing. So there are basically 4 programs, as I say, in the package, and they are DrawPrint, Impact, ImpEmail, or LabPrint. When you install it, it will install a sample data folder, the tutorial folder, and a user data folder, and then obviously they will be empty user data and backup data folders. What it does, most of the databases by default will end up as you create them in the user data folder, and when you back them up, it's a button into the backup data. Now you can set how many copies you want to back up. The default seems to be 5. I'm going to set it to 10. It will keep 10 copies of your database going backwards. Just looking at the main program, it's like a filing cabinet. The main thing is fairly straightforward. Info, of course, tells you which version it is. You send them an email or go to the website. Help files, which I'll show that in a minute. General notes, and you can look at databases which have existed. Bottom below the line there are the example databases, and some up the top there. I'll be showing you. Create a new one, do that. You can import. I'll show how to do that in a minute. And you can close all. If for some reason you haven't managed, if you've forgotten to close the normal database, you accidentally clicked on the normal close icon like that, then it would you still leave it open. Now, so after menu button and our choices. Now within choices, these are global choices, but you can set them up various options. You can say you automatically update the database if you change something in the card. You can set up the return key to do various actions, whichever one you want. Save the record, move the character to the next icon, or move or save it last icon. I tend to use the defaults in most cases. On opening a database, you can have it so it automatically selects a particular index. I normally said don't. Same with the filter. I'll come to show what those all are in a minute. A field map, again, I'll mention that later. You can start at the first record, the last record used, or open a blank one. Now, several security features. If you leave the machine idle, you can have this setting so that after 10 seconds, it will put up a blank card, empty field, so you can't see any contents in case you leave the machine and somebody's wandering past and looking at you got confidential information. I tend to not have it on because only me here. The other thing is you can password protect the databases, but if you do so, whatever you do, don't forget the password, because once you've set it, if you've forgotten it, you will not get back into that database. The other thing is you can set up to backup. The general do a warning before you shut down automatically, or you can ignore it and not do it at all. Or you can do it, I'll set 10 minutes there, 10 times, but you can also set as a timed backup, so a backup every 10 minutes or whatever time you want. Something squeaking in the background. You can set field names, sort of whichever way you want to. Set a table display. When you can open tables, I'll come to that again, to automatically open. It even has facilities if you wanted to make it use to dial out a phone line, more for in the old modem days now than what we do now. Place on grid, export. You can do, I'll show that more a bit later. You can set it so you can just save part of a field, and I'll show you that later. You can set up template files for export to ImpEmail or Ovation Pro as I've got here. Obviously, thing you save, set. Most windows have got info windows, so if you click on that, to open up the relevant field. A little bit slow, can do it across VNC. I'm using VNC, Tiger VNC here, and I've reduced the normal screen size I used on my machine at. So it's a little bit slow. There you go. Yeah, it explains all the settings in the choices. If we go back to the contents, it takes you through the whole process of creating guided tour, how to go around all the sections, everything there, the whole manual there. It's hyperlinked, so you can just jump wherever you want. Okay, cancel that. So to create a new database, oops, if you right-click it, by the way, the icon, it opens up your list of databases. Alternatively, you can go here and go to the database that way. Menu over the icon on the icon bar, gives you the main menu. click on create. And there we are. We've started to create a database. Now, get rid of that for a minute. Basically, this is what they would call a default empty card with some of the standard icons. I'll show you what they are in a minute. But to create things, you put in things like, let's have a look, label. So I don't know what to call this, name. And that's literally just a label for a field. I'm going to put that down there. So I'm actually now putting a database field in. Now, click on it, over it, and it says unnamed. If you want to edit it, you can give it a name for the database field, which I thought name makes obvious there. You can set the caret order, which is automatically 2 because the second item that's gone in. You can have how many lines you want. You can set the maximum text length. You can increase it. You can set the justification for it. So center, left, or right align. You can make it non-writable, so it's actually, you can't modify it. It might be pulling data from somewhere else, and you don't want to be able to modify that field. You can set that by ticking that box. Or you can set it not blank, so it has to have some text in it. You're not allowed, you can't leave that field empty. You can also set a default, but if you're just doing a name, it's not a problem. Now that would save. I'll press enter on that. Field. Now you see it changed. That now field is called name. Now it's a bit small, so you can now go over it and say, so you can then move it, copy it, delete it, or snap it to a grid. But in fact, if you go to move, you get another little window, tells you its coordinates and the height. Now move would just literally move it. So if I click move, it will just move it across. You can see it moving across, backwards and forwards. But in actual fact, I want to make that field wider so I can get more text. So you can either click on that or just click on that button there. And then it makes an adjust and you see it expanding or contracting as you so wish.
Brilliant. I should have fucking known that before.
Sorry?
That was brilliant. I wish I'd have known that before.
Yeah, that's basically thing. So obviously you can make it. It will still take the text. If it feels not big enough, it will still take the text you specified in the field. So it'll quite happily do that. Now I'll leave that at that for the moment. Let's create another field. Let's see, a number. So I haven't put a label in, but I can put a label, put another label in, change that. Take any text you want. Again, you need to give it a field name. I don't know, number. Now, because I've done that, it also says, because it knows a number field, it gives me options of decimal places, the minimum number of digits. I'm going to cut that down to no decimal places. You can set a minimum and maximum value, show negatives in red, set up a leading 0, range checking, so I've set that in, and it has to say it had to be between, say, 1 and 100. It tried to be outside that. It'll pop a message up. You can have a blank 0, non-writable again, or plus sign. Again, you can set a default number if you wanted to. I'll leave it at that at the moment, I think. I'll put it into center this time. again, just save it. This time I want to make the field, it's a bit big, so let's make it smaller. Go, move. Just remembered my last setting, so I can make it actually, I'm stretching it that way. But in actual fact, if you click on the same button, you with the right key, it goes the other way. So you can use your right and left key. So normal select button will follow the arrow direction. Adjust, we'll do it the opposite way. So you can adjust it. I'm going to move it, obviously, and just move it, and it'll move across the whole thing, as you say. So that, like 2 fields. Now you can do things like put a box around it. Let's have a look. Not big enough, that box, so I want to make the box bigger. Let's see. I'm about to do it. Yep, box. Again, I want to make the box bigger, so let's see what we're going to do. Adjust it, make it wider. I'm going to move it down a bit because it's a bit high. So that could adjust. So you can actually put the whole thing, go around all your text or whatever you wanted to. Obviously, I'm just playing here. Make that go up a bit. There we are. Now, that will give you something. It's not a big database here. I've just put a very simplistic database. Now, you can put things like button bar, flag on. So you could have a flag. So 20, no, 20, oh, 2,000. Let's make it 2,000. Right, okay. But I want more than one button. So edit again. I know. Choice. Now it can tell you can set how many buttons you want. So there you are. We'll just have 3. You can set defaults, and you can show detail defaults. In this case, I'm not doing it. You can also set it to right or left. So the text is on the right or the left. You can change the text color. Let's make it nice. Yeah, that's only on that one, but I want to do it on this one. So you can change the colors for more. Oops, I can't call. Oh, not more. Oh, that's a surprise. Not quite sure why. Ah, that's better. That's better. No, do not quote it. So anyway, that's it. But I don't want 2,000 for every single one. I can just edit this. I can click on it. Thank you. Change that to 2001. Make that 2000. Oops. 2000. I'll click on it there. Yeah, I think I did. That's it. Oops. That's happening. Change 2002. So yeah. So you can do all this sort of thing. I'm just putting stuff on the thing. You can even have it save files, or you can do an action button. I'll come to action buttons in a minute, but I'll give some better. You can do a calculation field as well. So you can actually do a calculation if you're doing comparing months or how long it was from one date to another. There's also the menu. So you can set a menu up. Now, again, set a menu up. Let's check a menu. I don't know. Menu 1. You can either set it as a menu or set it as a browsing thing. So you can go up and down with the up and down arrow keys. The menu. text. So I can say, oh no, 2, 1. The next one, 2, 2, 2. The default I've set at 21. And you don't have to, you can change it to that one if you want. You change whichever one you want. You can give it a menu title if you want to. Let's give it a title, I don't know, years. Now, that will cause a minor problem because when I save it, as you'll see, the menu, could it clash with that? So I'll move, you can actually drag the fields about. But anyway, I haven't saved it yet, so it's not showing on the screen. You can save an image in the thing to drop down. I'll show that on another database. Now here, before I show that, the card may not be, this side is quite a small side for a card, but if you want to make it bigger, you go to click over the card, go to card. You can have a horizontal scroll bar, vertical scroll bar, take them off if you don't want them. Adjust size icon, toggle size icon, and you can have a close icon. Sometimes you don't want that. You've got this option to change. But again, you can change the side of the database by changing it to move it that way, and so on. You can change the background color, really hold black, or you can make it, I don't know, blue. Let's try blue, there you are. So you can do all sorts of things with it. Set the password, I'm not going to do that for safety. Important though, you put a database name in. Now before I do that, we see I've already got a toolbar here. You can actually add more tools on, it tells you what they all are. The ones on the screen here are the default ones. So to the beginning, record backwards and forwards, to the end record, a new record, a single backup, a deleting a record. You can set up indexes, filters, and field cards. I'll show some examples of that in a bit. And you've got sort of a search option. And here you've got an option to show the table of your database. They won't work in the developing card, but you can add on things like this. The full backup, close icon. Oops, I want to grab the wrong here, didn't I? Close icon. And copies, you can add them on, and you can still expand them up way up the field if you want. Let's have a look. We've got an impression. See field to expand, it automatically goes across. So you can do all that sort of thing. Now, I can give that a name. Let's call it, I don't know, Fred. Don't really matter because I'm just testing here. Click on save. It's now created the database, and there's your database. It now exists. And you'll see I've got all those extra fields on. So if I put in, I don't know, Rick, number 1, tick that, change that. Now, you'll see he's got a normal star in to say it's been modified. I click enter, it changed it and moved me on to the next record. So I've already got more than one record. So if I go back here, I've gone back to Rick. Go thing. Click on there for a new record. So I can put in Ruth, number 2, 2022 or 2023. You can do all this sort of thing. I'm just playing here just to give you some examples of some of the things you can do.
I think you're breaching data protection rules here, Chris, because you haven't asked my permission or...
I'm not using real data, so it could be Ruth from Buckingham Palace for all my care. I'm just using that thing. But if you want one thing, I'll take that to Ruby. Here you are, Ruby. Right. So you got a field now. Not the other thing. Got 2 records in here. You can actually look at the records. There we are. I looked at the table. It got to show the 2 records. You can actually, I can just close the database. I haven't set it to do an automatic backup, so it just saved it. I closed it down as it is. I now look at it. You can see I've got that database called Thread. If you click on it, it opens. Thing you can search on both facilities, case sensitive. You can search on certain fields. So you want to search on name. Find Rick. Well, I've only got 2 records, so it's not going to find anything difficult to place that with. Replace all. He found it and it automatically updated it and replaced it. You could have shown it as a table, so it showed a record. If it's more than 1 record, it will go through and find each record and ask you if you want to update it. So you can either do the whole block in one go or bits. So if I want to change that, I don't know, I'll change that from Boris to James. Okay, what the jaws? There we are. I showed a display table. It will show me that it found 1 record. Okay, I think, but not updated it yet. I haven't searched for it yet. It said there, I found a Boris, the record Boris. Do you want me to update it? So I can take off the thing. It's found record. And I can just say replace. It's done it. I automatically saved that change. Now, you can create an index. It told me there's no index is defined. So instead of right-clicking on it, if you just click on it, you cannot create a thing. Ascending, descending. You can select which field you want to sort it on. Well, let's sort it on. Yeah, no, set it on name. Match the first 32 characters. Way too many, but never mind. You can set on a selection of fields. Well, in this case, there's only the 1 field anyway. So, the last word, case match, so you can check it to make sure it's case sensitive. Don't need to do that. I'm going to give it, let's say, now I'll try name, see if it accepts it. Yes, it does. So I've now created a little index. Current correct, there's not a variable type choice. They told me I've done something wrong. Yep, told me I've done something wrong with it. I haven't put the filter in because I haven't set a filter. I've set the name because it's already got a field called name. It's not going to let me stay with that. So let's say, we've got an index in there. Oh, okay. Let's do a search on number. I haven't set a filter up, so it can probably object to me doing it that way again. Yes, it's objecting because I haven't set a filter up. Okay, let's set a filter up. Again, you can set a filter, so I'll call this Z. You don't have to use a group. Simple, we'll just find a simple record. So the number equal to, not equal to, or well, let's say less than 2. You can do compound one, you can also do a calculation, but I'm just doing a simplistic one at the moment. So right, setting, why do you keep going about choice? Like variable choice. Yeah, no, just an action filter. I haven't got an action filter. Okay. Not sure why it's quite doing that, arguing about some field that it doesn't like I've created. No, didn't want that. Didn't want that. Click the wrong button there. But again, you've got the help file there, so it can help you if you're doing it wrong. Yeah, that's better. Didn't object to it now. I still don't like it. Maybe it's an action index. I've got an action index. Oh, okay, I'll show this on another database in a minute. There are no field maps. Well, field map, again, you can select. Supposing you just want to show certain information. So I want to select the name and number. Don't want the other 2 fields showing. You could combine them, but there's no point doing that. You can show the field selection on the database. Day after I look at, you can see it highlighting the 2 fields I'm using for the selection. In this case, I'm just going to save it. I'll select. Keep coming up with a choice. I'm going. Okay, it's something to do with. Right, it's something to do with them. I'm going to edit it now. Here, if I go over it, you can actually get information. Tells you what the database is, where it is, when it was created last time. So you can show a field list, and I think it's that that field that's causing the problem. It's that field that's causing me a problem. But you can change database choices just for this database. You can copy the database, or I can go back and edit the card, which is what I'm going to do. I think that choices one. I think that's the one. The choices one, right? No, maybe one is this one. Yeah, this one is the. I can't edit the name, so what I'm going to do is I'll simply delete it. Delete that. Yep. Put a new flag in. Edit. 2 buttons, and I'll call it SSS. I might change that to yeah. Clicking on the darn thing. That's better. Right, that should be fine now. Right, I'll save it again. Remember the details. Do you want to update it? Yes. Rebuilding the index which I created. So there it is now there. So hopefully now, if I do name, yeah, it's not, it's that word because it had that field name called choice, which was something using index. It was objecting to it. So I can now filter on ZZZ. No error message this time. So if I now click on that, I'm seeing all the data for record 1, but that's what I told it to search for. But I do field map, so it's only going to look at those 2 fields now. Top field, the one that says name and number. When looking at the thing, it's now only showing those 2 fields in your table. So you can configure it to display much or little information as you want. And you can have multiple fields. You don't have to have multiple indexes. I'll show you another example in a minute. You can set it up to do the normal table, which you open it up like that. You can set it to open up a mail merge facility, which I'll show you that working on the database more effectively. I can do it also with impression and with MP mail. Now, you can also set up a backup. It can set it, it knows where to put it. It defaults to within the user directory. I'll set it don't back up automatically in a moment because I don't want it accidentally overwriting any live databases. You can change the backup text so you could move it to somewhere temporarily different. So I could save it onto the RAM drive or something temporarily, a copy of it, so you can make a backup of it. And a person that's got only no setup and backup set there. So if I close that down, that's just a very simplistic database, basically. And you can create any database you want. It's just a plain, simple database. Now, if I show you the test one I created, another one I created previously, I've been playing around again with this. It just saying I can, you see I've saved some pictures into the database, not one there. So you can save different formats. That's a live picture. Double click on it. It opens it up into the application that's saved, in this case, a draw file. Or I've created a little window there for putting a thing in. You can put in a notes field. A notes field can also be used to save various pictures of various type, JPEG, sprites, draw file. I haven't tried all formats, but I did change. So I normally did change it at one time, but only accept one type of format. They changed it for me. Just to give an example, I have here in the demo, that's a draw version of it at the moment. If I drop in sprite version, it'll check for me. I want to change it. Yes, I do. I now opened it up in a sprite file. I can also save it a JPEG. Open that up. It's now opening up in what's it open that up in? Not sure, but it's opened it up in. It probably looks like it opened up in private eye. But again, you can actually have file, which is just like a notes thing. You can have notes field, which is still remembering an old field, so I can update that one with a different picture if I wanted to. Drop that into there and it'll change it. And that, so I can put different pictures into the thing. Again, I've got up and down arrows for thing, text, all simple, very simplistic stuff there. I haven't set any data up. That's a bare bone because what I intend to do, I want to do something like this. I'm actually going to put my first aid cover collection into a database so I can pull and search data. So that's just an experimental one, seeing how it goes on. But to give a better feel for I'll close that down. They've got some example databases here. I'll pull up one or two of these. They've got an address database. It's all dummy data, no real data in it. And you can see they've got things like phone numbers and email addresses, fax numbers, and various buttons. Now, what you can do with some of these is different things, like there's another button here, more, which opens yet another card. So it's linked two sets of data together. And in fact, if you click on that, it opens up a table showing, in this case, what movies this person hired. So it's pulling the data from yet another database in the system, and actually pulling it from the video hired database, which if you look on the list here, you can see it's opening up the video database, which is that one. So it's pulling in data from various databases to be able to provide the information so you can set them up. And I'll show you a change from that. Now, also this one, just to give an example, I'll close this one down. It's got an account button. I click on it, it says, this action is not yet implemented. Basically, you can give your icons and the action buttons, these are called, help messages. So you can put a text in and say, in this case, if I open this up on the whole field work, and right click the field, there we are. Now, this is the field that controls what happens when you click on that button. It says, the message is, this action is not yet implemented. So you can set up your own messages for various icons. I've never really used that, but it's quite clever. Gives you a lot of flexibility to give it your own help file. And this button, which is the one I've totally forgotten about, is a close button. And all that does, if I right click just to show the fields, this is just text file. This is where the scripts are written. And it says here, close the data button, action button, that closes that card. I click on it, it closes it, closes that database, and it's just got the one main database now. You can go for the records, so on. If you try to mail it, the button, it will try and send me an email, and opens up imp email, which it had automatically done. It's in fact not actually using. This is the old version before imp email was available. So it's actually gone and found Messenger Pro and opened up Messenger Pro. Nowadays it tends to use imp email, but it's the same thing. They can put in the subject and that, but it's all being pulled by a script. And this is the script. They've put some new helpful notes at the top. If the email is blank, then it says it's not equal to blank, then it's mail to, give it the email address. Otherwise, if there's no email address, tell you a message. So just to show you that, we have one of these that didn't have an address in, that one. Try and click on that. There's no email address. So it tells you if you haven't got it. I won't try to call a phone number because it doesn't now work. But you can do look at the labels. Click on the button. This hopefully will open up. I won't look too many. Yeah. It probably generated a label in the background now. When I close it down, it won't like that. And writing. To try to send a thing, it says I'm going to try, again, giving a helpful message, telling what's going on. You don't have to have that, but it'll try and open up. Merge process failed because you haven't seen the correct application name. It's found it as Publisher Plus rather than Publisher an impression. It couldn't merge the data. It has actually merged some of it, but the rest of it there. I don't know whether it's got a separate field on there for it. No, it hasn't. Okay. I'll show it working within Ovation Pro in a bit. That's the label printing icon, so you can actually, oops, did I do that? Yes, I do. Click on that. Oh, right, I've not set any field map, that's okay. Let's kill that a minute. I'll select a address label, which is now going to give me just, if you can see there, all names and addresses. Now, just be on the safe side. Click on the label icon, it brings you up. Now you can do a single record or multiple record. Let's do multiple record. And you're going to use the label format 7160. You can preview the label. Let's do that as queued. I don't want that one actually. Kill the queue. Get some more stuff in there, right? You can change the different, all the standard AV format thing. I'll leave it at 7160. Again, preview, yeah, there you are. Sprint text to fit the label, because sometimes you get the text can be too big. Start on label 1, you can start on 2, whatever you wanted to in the format. Now, I'm going to do a print. This will actually send it to PDF, but there we go. I'll save it on there. Just for demonstration purposes, this. Right, create the PDF file. I open that up. It will be appearing on your label on those things, so it shows you what. It's got 2 pages there. I'll just send it to PDF instead. Just thing. No printer connected to this machine at the moment. I'll get rid of that one. Right. So you can use the label printing. The resume I'm merging. You can set it for application impact email or Ovation Pro. It doesn't default to impact email. I've raised that as an issue before. You can set it for faxing to a letter. Set it for a thing. So you could do a merge here now. This is, you can see what the thing is. Want to see what the text looks like, showing all the field there. I click on test. It's already been loaded, use the new view thing, blah, blah, blah. Right, okay, I want to do that. Okay. I keep forgetting about impression. I've used it for years. But it's merged in the data. This is just a testing it. If I click clear, it clears it. So physically print it, click on print, and it'll actually print it, in this case, to PostScript. If you want to do multiple records, you can do that. Start or from a certain place, or from that point in the database, or you can go right to the start. It will automatically know what to do. I'll show about creating a new merge in a minute. Also the backup. This is import and export options. So if I want to export it, click on the button. You can save it in various formats: CSV, Excel type, CSV, Easy Writer, plain text, TSV for Labella, and MySQL. Tend to default to CSV Excel because it's a fairly standard format. Again, current record, multiple records. You've got all these choices for how you handle it. You can export file name, or you don't have to export file names. Entirely up to you. Include different detail. So if I try to take the multiple database, export it, you'll say that, I'll drop it onto there. Now, if I think I've got fireworks, I have got fireworks on here. Drop that onto fireworks. Spreadsheet. Yeah, there we are. We put all the data in there. Obviously, the fields are not wide enough or whatever, but Let's do it differently. But yes, you can export and import it in different formats. So that's basically thing. Labels, you can write letters. You can actually go to a letter database, show the letters. You could display them. They haven't got any look like setup on here. It looks a bit at the moment. I don't know. He has got one. I know it is. So display that. Showing the empty template, the looks of it. But theoretically, you could save multiple copies of all letters you send out to people. You can save a record. So again, it's another card. Just if I say try and edit this card, it'll just edit that one card that linked to that. And I'll show a trick with that later on. Now this one doesn't have a close button, so I can't close it. So what I can do is go down here. Now, if I go here, you see all databases that are physically open are ticked. And if I follow the addresses one, it shows it's got more than one card attached to that main database. I'll close that down. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. What was it? That one. I'll close all. Oh, hang on. Simpler way, close this way. Close that card. There we are. Right. So that's basically just one of the example file. You can actually import files as well. You can copy a file record. I'll show you doing that on a separate database in a minute. Let's close this one down. Close that database. Right. Still, because the file's open, it thinks there's something still open. So I'm going to close all that and make sure everything's closed down. Now, you can see I've got several here. Wakefield is a blank copy. Well, not quite. Got one dummy record in for our club database. And this is what it looks like, or part of it, the front page. It's got no live data in it, so not revealing any secrets. I made a blank copy. If I wanted to make another copy of this database, I can click menu over it and say, copy this database. But then it gives me a choice. Do I want to include the records or do I want to include the documents? I say, no, I don't want to include that. Yeah, go on, include the records. I can actually automatically put on, no, I don't want to put it there. I can drag it and it will save it. Now, close that down. You can now drag, if you want to save a database somewhere else in the copy, just drag it and drop it onto there. And you've now got a blank database based off the original. So completely empty if you want to start from scratch, which is basically what I did when I was setting up the dummy session. Let's go back to the one. Now, within this, there are lots of facilities. I also have here created a field that will automatically generate a new membership number rather than me manually having to find out what the next previous membership number is so I can increment it. I've got the program to do it. So if I click on that, create a new one, it automatically knows what the last number was and moves it up one number to create a new record. I don't want to do that, so go back to the original. Can you see originally I had putting manual numbers in there. You can see various things like this field is grayed out because it's made up of this field, and that field. It's pulled them all together and created a thing. When we're doing mail merging and that for various things, sometimes it's a benefit to have that or split down sort of So I know who you are, my full name, various reasons thing. Now, those are just tick boxes or button boxes, basically say whether you're X directory or not. Change it backwards and forwards, doesn't have any impact. Your email address in there, saying, supposing I've now changed, I've paid today, say, I can use Control U to clear that field, Control D to put the current date in. It also will validate if you try and put a 31 day in a 30-day a month, it will tell you that you're doing it wrong. Thing. So do that. Press enter to save it. Right. Now I've also got one here that says update. Now it's not an update because it's already the 6th, but let's change that to I don't know, temporary. If I click on that, it should update it to the 6th. Yes, it updates it. Again, it's just a very simple button. I'm clicking the adjust button on the little button, the action button. They're called action buttons. These are all what they call action buttons, which means they run a script or a little bit of programming you put in. And all it does here, check the date, the equal to date, change it to today's date, and then save that record automatically. Obviously PDF newsletter. I can record, if you remember, the forum, website, meeting announcements. Now, I can also look at, I've set another button here, which actually opens another card, just like a thing, it's linked database again. And they are. I've ticked it up, I've ticked out. According to this, I've got every single computer made by Acorn and Risk. So I could do it now. Sorry?
Show off.
I haven't actually, but never mind. But I can do reports on it if I wanted to. I'll show you that in a minute. But within that, I can then go, if I go here, I can set different indexes up. Can't really do much because I've only got one record, but I can put in membership alpha based on the alpha field. Membership category, so I could do it on honorary or ordinary membership. We used to have junior, and we don't have that now. Membership numbers, I can put in membership numbers for all our records. And all I do for that, if I click that and then right click it and see what it's doing. It's matching the first 4 characters. Membership is any membership. I'm using the filter of members, ascending order, and it's finding out what it is. I can then, on this one, I can then put membership due. Current record does not meet the match for that, right? Because it's not probably June. I'll set up for June. I think I'm based on an old copy of the database. If I put that to July. Save that. You see, it's a calculation. So what it's done, I'll just bring that up again. Doing a calculation, looking at the sub due date, which will be that date, renewal date, and checking if it's equal or not equal to that 31st. If it is, if it's equal to that date, generate it as it's now due. If I've only got one record, so if I go like that, it should actually just bring up the one record. Say I'm due. In email record, which is basically the same with that button. The record showing on member of the forum, mailing list, members, they're still members. Now due, either due now or they're overdue. And these are used for sending out every thing, an email list but none of you now. Some of these are thing. I've got field maps now. Field maps mean that I can change. You've got all these other fields, but I just want to use, say, the address. I don't want the email address. You don't want all the rest of that stuff. So I've selected address. And when you look at the table, it now shows just the addresses. I didn't use that. Looked at it, it will show all the fields in the database. So you can filter it as much as you want, or as little as you want. I can do a CSV export, ready for extracting certain information, which I might do to send the records to the secretary or chairman, so he's got a backup copy of the database records. I can export, obviously. I can import. Now, I'll show you something on that in a minute. I can also use draw. Now, oops, somebody just tried to come in.
Dealt with.
Right. Now, with draw, you can actually do things like, if I click on certain fields, you see a red border appears around them. Now, if I click on each one, if I click on two there yourself, but yeah, don't always show it on the screen. I'm doing a small screen here. Supposing I just wanted that, but I want to copy that lot in to say, I don't know, edit. I can just take that lot and now drag it in. So if you just wanted one record and you're trying to keep a record of it, supply information to somebody or whatever, you can pull that information in. It's got the search facility, as I was saying. I don't normally publish now on the Attentive Innovation Pro, but I'll show you that in a minute. Imp email, which I'll also show you in a minute. The label program, I've got no field map selected, so it can try and give me everything. Backup and independent separate backup. So there's lots of stuff in there. But as I was saying, I've attached one for what the member owns, what the computers, the records, back catalogue, so that people can keep a record of that person got which years. Thing, and I'll save that. Yeah. And things like that. Now, I've got a notification one, which is a new one I've been setting up. And just to illustrate things, I can actually link. I've decided this field really needs to be on this card rather than a part of this that really to do with the committee. So I can just go, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. Thank you. Let's see if I can drag it. I'll probably bring it down here so much easier. Drag that. Oh, it keeps opening up now. A minute. Sorry. I need to edit that one from around. That's right. Now I'm dragging it in. I've dragged that copy into there. It's still left there at the moment. I could drag that one into there. I could save them. Close them down. Best thing to close it down. Because it saved it. Open it up. Now I click on notification. They're there. Now, I will open up. Let's open that up. If you're trying to send emails out, delete that lot. Right. Now, what you've seen here is you've got various buttons to do various things. But one of the other things you can do, I can, as I say, generate emails. If I click on that email, it opens up. You can go to imp email. There's our imp email there. It's opened it up, and it's taken a default email address that I've set up for it. But I've got several others available that I can use. I could select that one. So it's going to come from that address, and it's going to go to that person. You can create your own subject and book text in. When you want to send it, click on send, and away it goes. You can set it to link up with. I'm discarding it because I'm not changing it. I've changed it. I can do new member emails or email receipts. Now, if I do a new member email, it generates an email. It's actually generated an email there. I'll put it in there, yeah. And basically, again, I've merged various fields into this imp email template. It's going to come from the membership. It's going to merge in the person's email address. So it'll merge in that. And it will then go through and add on the relevant field information from the various fields I told it to merge in. The membership number, whether these ticked. And their membership number, when their membership expires, types of computers they've got, asking if they've got a newsletter CD or download, as they call now. Now that thing, as you can see here, I'll just open it up. It had actually tried to generate one, and that's what it will show. Merged in all the various fields into it. So it's merged in the email address, who it's going to, when your membership due to, valid to, the membership number. You get a newsletter. You're not on the membership now, unless you're not in the discussion forum, or if you are members, if I tick them, you will be able to say you are, and the computers you own. And you had a back catalogue for 2021. Just to prove that, I will cancel that, get rid of that. Yes, all right. Got one done. I'm going to tick those two boxes. And what's it on? I'll change some of the, let's say I'll take off some of these own things. I've done all those now. And also I'll don't have back catalogue. So and now run that again. Eventually it'll appear when it takes its time, taking its time for some reason. Come on. Don't know why it's taking a long time to appear. There it is. And now I look at that database thing. This time it says I'm a member on the membership meeting announcement list. I'm in the club discussion forum, and I've got only these computers. And because I haven't got a newsletter CD, it told me what I can get information for and how much it would cost. So it changes what gets sent out based on the information on the database record. It merges the data in. Now I'll show you how it can be done in a minute or two, but that's just some of the example. Now, this is the status window from imp email. I'll get rid of that so I don't send it out. Don't want to send me any stuff out. What you can do here, you can save copies. Now, if I open up, where is it all? There we are. I opened up that sent email or any other mailbox, doesn't matter which field it is. I can click on that, save copies, and it'll save them into that. Update there. And I have a special folder called membership emails that shows all the emails I've sent out. Now, prevent it actually generating more than one stop, because if I save it again, it'll just duplicate that. You can clear the copies to get the counter back to 0. there is a log file that shows what you've done, who you sent to. That's valid for the session you're on. Now, I can close that down for a minute. I look at ImpEmail, which is icon here. You can see it's got the normal choices, send the email, double type. You've got the status window, which is that. Has your own help file and the choices. Now the choices, you can have send it direct to an SMTP server, so you could, if you don't want to use Hermes or anything like that, you can actually tell it to go out immediately by pointing it to your PlusNet server, BT Internet, whatever, Virgin Media server, whatever you wanted to, and you can set the port. I'd default using Hermes, and that's generally what it knows about at the moment. If it contains HTML tables, it'll turn them into a table. It generates HTML automatically. You can select different from addresses, so you can select them. So you can have multiple ones if you wanted to, and you can obviously the fonts on the side. That is really basically it, but I'll show you how we create a new one in a minute. Just to give some idea, if I look at the merge window, I'll create that in email. I have all these. The top, the bottom lot below that line there are all email templates. A couple of them are now obsolete, but basically that's all. Some are used automatically by the buttons, and some are generated manually. Those are impression document, Ovation Pro documents, I should say, that are generated as necessary. I will show that in action in a minute. So there's a great deal of flexibility here. So you can link it, but even if I take that off, and there was actually another database. This bit was actually done by Signominy for me. But because I was trying to find out how many people had each type of machine that they claimed they said they owned. So Signominy kindly created this one for me. It's actually pulling data out of here, out of this card on another database. I click on that, it goes through and shows the thing. Now I can just click on the index and it will show me, the table, and it will show me one person got an 8-bit, no 8 marks, and so on. Obviously, in real life, it'd be a lot more than that. Or I can click on that and show the owner or owners as appropriate. Simple little database that they created to pull data from the club database or to help with the statistics thing. But those of you who get your membership renewals or reminders or whatever, it's generated by these buttons. If I right click and just show you one of them, this is the renewal one. What it's doing here is select the printer, PostScript 3. Says I want to load the impression document, Ovation Pro document, don't call it contain impression, called Renewal 2. And it tells you I want to merge it into Ovation Pro. I'm going to do a merge to it. I'm then going to print it, and then I'm going to clear it. And that helped close the file down. To do all this mail merging, it uses the Impulse module, which originally came with impression back in the day, and Signominy have enhanced it to fix some of the bugs and one or two other things with it. They've now actually written, I think they've written a manual for it for other people to be able to use it to link into their programs as well. The Impulse module will work with the another database that's from Mr. Haslam over in Manchester Way. And so we implement take a view to merging that way. But basically, that's what that does. That's all the script does. And if I run it, click on that, it's opening up Ovation Pro. Then the thing is now opened up PDF program. Obviously, wouldn't have that full path in initially. And I put a title and lumping in there. In this case, I'm going to save it to the RAM disk. And it created a file. Open up. And there you are. It's merged in all the data. The original file, if I open it up just to show you, Renewal 2. That's the original file. All the merge commands have now actually merged that data and generated the program. Now, all I do to send it out, if I was sending it out, I would actually go to MP Impale and say I want to send out renewal email. That opens up the renewal email, and you may notice at the bottom here, it's actually got, I haven't named it. I'll rename it actually, that's my fault. I should have done it when I saved it. Redo that because yeah. That's fine now. We open that again. Yeah. You'll see it's now got a correct icon. Previously, because it couldn't find the thing. What I've done, I've actually set it so I've saved it with that path to that attachment. So for all these membership ones, I don't have to keep adding that attachment. It remembers it. The only thing I've got to do is create a new version of the PDF for each person. And then it attaches, it automatically knows. If I just say that, I click on that, you can see, click on edit, and it'll show the path. It knows where it's got to pull it from. What there will appear in the email. If the file's not found, it tells you not to send it or just omit it, so you can do things. So you can add more than one attachment, obviously, but now if I was going to send it, it would go like that. It won't physically go out because thing, but it's done it, save the copy in there, and it'll appear in a minute when it wakes up. It might take a long time, there it is. And it generated that email now. If I open it, you can see it now merged in all the various data and the attachment to the bottom of it. And that's the other thing. So I can do that. It's very similar for all of these. Generate email. I'll get rid of that. Again, it's saved the copy. I'll clear the copy now. Okay, so supposing I want to create a new one. Well, go to that, and at the top is new. So you can either set a new email or you can set Ovation Pro. Let's stick with email, and I'll call it dead. Right, open up a new blank one called dead temporarily. It's defaulting to that one because that's the one I set to default. I could change any of the others I wanted to. You can create now and say you want to send it to now. here you use the merge command thing, click on that, and it brings up a little editing section. Now I'm going to use the Wakefield database, but I could use other databases. I could use some of the other ones if I wanted to, but I'll stick with the Wakefield one. I want to use a field, so select here. Let's see, I want the email address, don't I? So click on that. And there it's opened up and said I'm going to open the impact Wakefield database and fetch the email address. All I'll do now to make that in there is to drop it into the field. And now it's added the merge command. You could even set a default address, default text, I know, test thing. Yeah. And supposing I now want to put somebody's name in there, I go to here and I say, full name. I think what full name? There we are. There, and you put that in. Come on, okay. And so on. You can put in field now. My membership number. Put that in there. Obviously, you can put in text. You can add text for it. Number. Etc. So you can add on various fields. Let's see. Computers. I moved to that one. Oops. Put that. Yeah. Right. Now, one thing it done, one of the things they did change is that to get the signatures. Now, Matthew at Sam Banomni got it to find if you had Messenger Pro or I think Pluto as well, it would go and find your signature file for each user. And it'll pull it in here. At the moment, just got the one, so it adds it onto there. The other ones haven't been created. And that's it. Now, test is working. Click on the test button. There you are. Membership number 0. Well, I don't know why it's showing membership number 0, but it should be 1422. But clear that. Membership number. Oh, that might not be the right one. Get that. I remember them that one. Wrong field. Yeah, oops. Oh, we want to go move. Huh? Yep. Test it. So now pulling in the membership number and it's pulling down the details of what computers I got from the database. So it merges the information. This is only a test. It's not going out anywhere. Clear it and email it. Now fix. If you want to send, permanently save that information as that particular email, you click on fix. But it means your merge information will be fixed in that thing. You'd have to create another one if you want to thing. So that's really all you save it. F3, of course, normal thing. And now I close that down. And now look on the list. It's now there as a permanent record for you to use, and you can delete it if you want to later on. If you want to see all the actual documents, there's a little button here, folder button, and it opens up the documents folder and shows you all. things. So you could edit it from here if you wanted to. There it is. Double click on it and it opens it up. So you can see the original document. Sometimes that can be useful if you want to cut and paste from one to another, because it's similar. So there's a lot of flexibility and power in this program, but it can be as simple or as complicated as you want. The club database has become quite complicated over time. So various purposes. Where people have renewed their membership and thing, obviously if I have that ticked, and it meets the criteria, then I'll generate the no matching record to things. So at the moment it can't generate it, but it would automatically, the script would automatically go through the database and find all the ticked new receipt records. Oh, why not working? And there you are, generates it. If there's more than one, obviously it'll produce one after the other automatically and send out a big batch. The batch of emails, one after the other automatically for me. Now, one of the things you're wondering why does that keep coming up? The difference here and not closing down like the Ovation Pro one. Well, it was Dynamically discovered while they were tidying up Impulse, they discovered that we've all been doing something wrong for years. Using the macro thing to remove it shouldn't have actually been being used to close down the imp email. They are looking at doing a change to the system so it can close it down. Doesn't stop it working, but you get a merge fail message instead. If I think it's might be that one. Yes, there it is. Where I'm doing notify a lever, it opens up the architect merge to the imp email, load the email, merge it, print it, and clear it. Now you may see I've got a message macro. I believe that if I untick that, just to prove it stops it working, save it. But that's no longer valid. I try to run it. It will say macro can only be used with Ovation Pro because it's it will let you get through, but you're not supposed to use it that way anymore. So I'll just put the bar back in. That might be a line out, but it's also the program is fairly good at telling you when you're doing things silly. The help file is very good. And that I've shown label print, which you can link to after that icon. I've not set up the old map up. Cancel that again. Field map address. But the thing in the label print, I can set it up to multiple different formats. That one if I wanted to. Preview the label. Start at number 2 or whatever. You can queue it, so queue it before it prints it, or you can just print straight away. In terms of draw, one thing I haven't showed you, this button here. This is rather clever. It's available as the actual script is actually available on the Sign-On website for you to use. I'll just show it here. It's very simple. It says if the postcode is empty, if not empty, then there you are code. Otherwise, if it's empty, no postcode available. So just to show what happens, I click on that. It opens up Risk OSM and points to the postcode or the address you put in there. Very flexible, means you can find out roughly where people are, make sure you've got no spelling mistakes in the addresses, and sometimes that can be useful. Sometimes reading membership forms from the show can be fun when we can't quite read the address name properly. We can get a better clue by looking at the postcode and then looking at the address around it to find the correct spelling. But it's just a feature in there. You have it there for to check things. But I have automatic generation for email for back catalogue orders, notifying the editor of a new member so he can send out your membership, your meeting notices, and of a lever. And in our notification one, well, I'm moving those two fields into here. Notifying our editor of a change of email address. If people change their email address, we do need to know that, otherwise you won't get your newsletter. And that. And again, you can open up, modify one of those cards without interfering with the main program and change it. So you can do all sorts of things with the database. Flexibility, I can add new features on. Lots of these things have been added on over the months. I've reset the layout and all sorts of things. One other thing you can do, as I say, you can actually make a, I haven't actually got that button there. You can make a copy of this record if you want to use it. I don't know, you may have made a message one thing. I'll just click on that, make a copy of the current record. I've now got two records which both have the same information in. Let's see if we can change one of them. I don't know. If it now spot the fact we've got two records. Yep, there we are. One thing somewhere, the other one thing, some other record. That you can make two records. Not quite entirely sure why you want to do that, but you might have it. You need to make two similar records for some reason. You can actually export, obviously, the whole thing. As I said earlier, you can actually look at the field list, so you can see all the fields are. So you can see all the types of fields and the formats. So the back catalogue one, which you think that one, get that one. That database has those fields in it. And the main database, which is the main screen, got all these fields and it tells you what they are, the length of them, whether a flag, label, writable, no, yes, and so on. A format, the dates, sub queue, and all the rest of it shows all the fields, action buttons, label, and what they all are. That can be useful if you want to create another database. Now, I can actually, if I can do it, it's too big a database, I think, to import, so let's find another one. No, and where is it? They've got another import. They've got a database here, simple members one. I'll drop it onto. It's empty at the moment, but I can drop. I can add a CSV file into the thing. Click on the entry one. I can now add on addresses. Drop it onto there. Yeah, okay, right. So I can say I can test it. With no filter. Now column one, you can tell it what it's going to be. It's a name. Yeah. And address. I'm not bothering with that one. So I should be able to. Oh, that's okay. So I said I'm going to import 6 records. You can view them. An example of the records are going to be imported. And you can actually import them. Yeah, that's right. So it actually put the name and the field title address in. I'll put that there. You can see the thing. Put a dummy record in. I'll delete that record. Yeah. You can now see it's actually put just those. Actually, made to put 5 in. Records in. And that's it. You just import and export. If I want to export them, I can export them out. Multiple records. Export. Not onto there. So I've done that. Now I'll get rid of this one. Right. Now create that CSV file. The thing I just want to create a brand new database without having to set up the fields. Import. Yes, I can do so. Put on there. It says, right, those are the fields. Do I want to create it? Yep. Oh, sorry, I didn't set the field title. They're there. They are there, actually. That's a text. Text. Number. Text. Right. I'll tell you what each type of field is so it knows what to do. Now import it. Now you have to create the database. It created a database from that import file for you. It saved you all the work. We just imported the whole lot and created the fields, which is quite clever. So you can save yourself a lot of work. Thing, and it gives you the default. It creates the default one, but you can then edit it and add on the fields you want to. So if I want to on, I don't know, where tool one, caution somewhere, put it down here somewhere. Oops. Yep, there it is. Save that. Yep, and now I've got the icon. I can just close it down. So you can create new databases from scratch by dropping a CSV file. And if you've got a CSV file from a source, and it'll tell it what type of fields they are, and it does it all for you. Draw print. Well, draw print is a little bit difficult to demonstrate, but basically, it's available separately. You can do it thing, but basically you can for big posters or whatever, insert it to a line to top whatever. I can't create anything. I've got nothing big enough to do it. But you can do margin, border, page breaks, page numbering. You can actually set it so it can create a big. So you create a big banner poster made out of several sheets of A4 if you wanted to. Scaling it, etc. Don't think I've got anything I can drop onto that. Oh, that's the impact email, by the of the PDF, by the way. 221 pages worth. Originally created in 1995. That's it. Done a long time, this database. Again, you got PDF. So that's basically pretty much it. And potentially, I'm just scraping the surface of some of the things that you can do. Well, get rid of it. Thank you. And that's pretty much it in terms of what it can. I'm actually scraping the surface of the help file. What's the help file? I'm using Iris here. It works fine with Iris. Well, it don't kill itself, which it has just done so. It works with NetSurf as well. On ImpEmail has its own help file as well. There you are. Okay, it explains how to work, how you compose things. Very clear how you can do it. CSV files as well. So you can do it in ImpEmail. I can actually show that. I open up a new one. I can actually drop a file into there if it had the right data. I don't think I've got. I don't think I do. No, don't think I do. Save a file there. No, I didn't. But you can just drop a CSV file into there, and it'll put on the relevant details of your email and all the rest of it. And then you can select which ones you want to send. I don't think I've got. Let's just try a club database, your club database again. Export a CSV file. If I drop that, I didn't mean to drop the whole thing, but never mind. Where is it? If I do CSV file now. The only thing I want is in actual fact the email address, so all the rest of it is relevant. There it is. That's what the email. So yeah, test it. I think that in there, I'll clear the selection. So yes, you need the email field in there. So all I need to do is drop the CSV file. Where is it? Don't think I'd do it because I've got too much here. Where is it? I'm doing it. CSV file, sorry. Email, there it is. CSV file. Email, there we are. It's got to come from that. So if I try test it, it will now show me that doing one. But I can say, as you can see here, it can do different selection. You can go up and down. If I have multiple things, you don't have to send them all. They only want to send that one or not the other one or others. You can just send the ones you selected that are highlighted in red. So if I say I want that one, not that one, you can change it, or you can send them all regardless. You can go up and down. There's only two here, so I can't show the whole thing. But so you could send a text message, so you could have a template. I use that for myself for the show, sending out messages to all the exhibitors based on the limited list of people I need to send it out to. And that, so yeah. I don't have anything. I don't think I can show for that to show it. No. Basically, that is it. Hopefully that covers pretty much everything. As I say, it's very powerful, well supported, and I couldn't do without it. I have lots of databases, which I can't show. All I'll show you is that I've got in my temp folder, I've hidden away a load of databases, but all those different databases I have. And you don't have to store them all in one place. As I say, you can have them multiple places. You can drag ones you've temporarily developed or you're making a copy of into it. So that's my talk, basically.
Okay, thanks very much, Chris, for that. Yeah, it's really, really comprehensive. I think the thing I hadn't realised is all the scripting things that you can do to automate things, and the fact you can start off with a very simple database and keep adding more information to it. And then
you can add it, expand it as much as you want.
Yeah, because I've never really dealt a lot with databases, I must admit. But, I got the impression like once you set your card, that was it, But obviously you spend a lot of time thinking what you do want to have on it. With
the club database, as I say, it was originally created in Impact Major, which would be about 1995. It's been worked on over the time. Now, one thing that does happen, if you delete a record in the database, it's actually still, the space is still occupied by that record, not compressed, it's not reduced. So because of all that, in the end, about a year or so ago, I exported the whole database as a blank, just what I was showing there, creating a blank one, and re-imported it all into a nice clean database. So it got rid of all the dead records. So it was nicely tied up and compact.
Yeah, because I saw the records, it's like 1,500 or something like that. Presuming that's all the people over time, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, of course, we've had members coming and going over the years, so things. So the other thing with the database, as I say, I couldn't very easily show it without showing a live data, so it's a bit difficult. But in relation to the show, we have a database that has all the risk-off companies, their details of names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, websites, and all the rest of it, and type of operation they are, and publicity people like newspapers and what have you. But then I have a separate database that's actually for the booking, and I pull information from one database, or a foreign database as it's called, into the new database. And that's how you can link them and operate them independently of each other, pulling data from backward and forward.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
And then you can still add more cards on top to create other information. Unfortunately, I can't show you that information because it's contained live.
Well, I mean, you did show some of the cross-linking of getting bits from different places. Which,
it's linking between two databases. And that's basically done by, well, I don't know, might better. Let me just go back to that. You can potentially do it by, let's see where it is. Wakefield. In fact, I've nearly done that by moving into the notification one. Basically, all that will be doing is similar sort of thing. If I created another database called, I don't know, let's create one called bookings. I don't know, booking. I want to get a database. Now, supposing I want to bring in the I don't know, this field. Move the screen down the way. It's more screen. That way. From this database, going to a completely new database I'm creating. I want to pull in that information. I'll just drag it, drop it in there. It will then ask me, it's not been named yet, of a customer. Put in there, customer. Is it a key field? Yes. So it makes it the key field. You can say it as a dependency thing. So I can save that. Now key of field. I now create another one. I don't know. Text. Cool. I don't know. So yeah, save that. Now I'll save this. But it's got nothing in it because I haven't told it to write to it. So it's empty. Showing a new record. I click over it. Or I'll click on it. Yeah, there. Double click on the field. Ask me, does it want to look in the local database or from the foreign database? I'm pulling it from the foreign database. So I've got to say, I'm going to find Hughes. And say fine. Found that one. Or I could go to the next one. And insert the data. It's now pulled it in, and that's a completely separate database. Stay on span 2.2. Oops, yeah. And I've got a close button, so I have to close this from here. That's it, thing. But that's now a separate database altogether. So that was the wrong icon. Got too many icons open. You see there's bookings. It's still open there. So I now create another record on here. Called Henry. Or here or something. Anything you want. Information. Okay, we've got a record called Henry. Supposing I want a new record, and want to import it. Well, double click on it. All right. Want it called Henry. And hopefully I should find it. Henry was here. Click on that. I've now imported it. And if you look at the records, you'll see you've got that one and that one. I pulled it in from this completely different database and separate to this one. So if I brought up, if I now went to Impact and just went bookings, it opened the bookings database, even though it's actually pulling the data from the other one. It knows it's pulling it from the other database. So I could change this record to 36, for instance, save it, and it knows it's closing. It doesn't interfere. It's actually pulling it from different databases. I can pull it in from several different databases into one database. They can link them together from various locations if you wanted to. Just to give it various examples of how it can be done. So, as I say, it's very, very powerful. And Simon are always interested in the new ideas and ideas for developing it further.
I don't know if you're aware, Chris, but the recent Bradford show, they actually said you're one of their power users.
Yeah.
And after seeing that, I think I can understand why.
Yeah. Well, I think Kev Smith from our committee is now using it for generating the indexes, etc., for the newsletter, download, catalogue, again, it's using Impact to pull in the data from various fields and what have you. Yeah. And he merged it into Ovation Pro fields. So, yeah.
Any questions for anybody else?
I don't have a question, but I do have a suggestion.
Right.
Draw print. I've used draw print to print out family trees because they tend to get very wide and very long. And if you use draw print, you can actually look at each page and decide where you want the page breaks. In fact, I printed some for my nieces at Christmas. They were highly delighted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that through obviously It'd be more printing it more than actually showing on
That's right,
display.
yes.
But yeah, so
Yes,
that's
it was
why you'd be
printed.
using draw print. That's
Yeah,
why you'd be
it
using
was
draw print.
printed,
Yeah. Other program can do that as well, but draw print gives you a lot of flex. You can
It
create
does.
a complete tray or whatever. Yeah.
I didn't interject earlier because you were discussing the. I mean, thank you for doing this, because it was me that suggested that the Sanomi stand. And I must admit, I was just gobsmacked. I've been struggling with just this backwards and forwards, not realising that the move and the adjust was there. Unbelievable. I shall be looking even further into it now. Thank you very much for the information. I must admit, very good.
Well, you also think on the cards that's shown, you can actually put a photograph of a family member or a relation in a little picture of the thing, a thumbnail, and it doesn't actually have to be in the database. You can link it as an external reference into the database, so you can have it somewhere else.
I'm at the toddling stage yet, not the running. That's a further project. Further project.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I must admit, I'm delighted, absolutely delighted with the presentation. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions?
Only to say, excellent presentation, Chris. Thank you very much.
Okay. I was nervous about doing it before doing it. Whether it go right or wrong. As I say, with my new 42 machine, which I've only just been playing about setting it up. So dealing with various software to make sure it all work together and that. But I was using a VNC, Tiger VNC this time to copy it across, and it worked quite well. So I'm quite pleased with that.
Just remind me how much a copy of Impact is, Chris?
It's £36 for the full version if you haven't already got one. If you've got upgrades from a certain version, between 5 and 27 at the most.
I'll say that
sometimes it shows they do discounts or whatever. Yeah,
I think they do very good prices for really good software, I must admit.
Yeah. There's been about 6-7 update versions in the past year. So.
Oh really? Yeah. So that's very good.
I've sent him things, and he's found issue a new version. So within days. So he likes our database. I think that's why he made that member database, because he'd seen our ideas of seeing how to do it, and he was impressed with it. So he created his own one for the demo.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they have something like a blank thing, that's sort of something they can do to sell. If it's got all the sort of buttons on that you've got there, it must save you, after you've set them up, a lot of time.
The scripting is, I've only shown probably scrape the top of the surface. You can do all sorts of things. You can do a calculation in a show database. It works out the cost of hiring chairs, backing panel, do the calculation, add it all up, work out any discounts or whatever, to pay things. So it's flexible. Excuse me, a long-term cough come back again. 18, 19 years now. We should get rid of the cough, but never mind. But yes, it's very flexible, very powerful. And as I say, you can try it before you buy. The only thing is you can't save the new records or a new database, but you can play around with the tutorials. And the tutorials you do get a manual HTML version, so it helps you guide how to create one and do various tricks and various pieces. It worked with Impact. It worked with InPmail, Ovation Pro, and in Publisher. That includes Publish Style. So you can do it. And if you want draw print, you can get that separately if you want. And you can get InPmail, you can buy that separately if you want it, because you can use it with the other database, as I say, that comes, I can't remember what it's called now, from Derek Haslam. Anyway, it's another database. It works. It works with both of them. So
yeah, I've tried using it with Squirrel, but
Right.
it'll work with any CSV file, won't it? So
Yeah.
do a schema or whatever.
Yeah. I think I used to have Squirrel at one time. Yeah.
That must have come out about the same time, didn't it? Because I had it on my A5000, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a problem with the license key over that, so it went,
Yeah, I've got
it went out the window. It went out the window, and I got impact, and I've never looked back since. I used to use master file, but that was too basic.
Yeah.
And I got onto this one, and I found it so flexible, and more and more I've learned about it. As I say, I learnt a new item today while practicing, so I discovered something I didn't realise.
Yeah.
As I say, a lot of information is in the help file. There's sample scripts you can use. They provide a couple on the website for that, accessing Wisco SM, linking to it. So there's so much power there behind the scenes. As I say, you can password protect it, but if you forget the password, forget it. You won't back in the database. Very strong warning that, and it's case sensitive, I understand. So I've never used the password. I've avoided it like the plague because I forget the password. I've got too many to remember.
I was quite impressed with the documentation as well. I think one of them was about 300 pages.
Yeah,
that's sort of like,
yeah.
There's a lot there to read through before you ring up.
Well, yeah,
as you say,
as I say, the HTML file, you can open up to the top. You can search for a document for a particular topic or thing you want to look at, and it jumps to the relevant section in the HTML file. As I said, they give them 3 formats: PDF, strong help, and the HTML. And each section has a help thing, so you go take it straight to that section relevant to it, so you can find out about it. And that's been very useful, well written, and he updates it for each version. So.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I've got to go. But,
okay, thank you.
Very interesting demo.
Yeah. Try to remember all the different permutations you can do, so many, but the club's database is quite an extensive one. It uses a lot of the different things, so that's why I used it as a template for demonstrating various things. Okay.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. Yeah, okay. Are there any more questions? And if not, we'll stop the recording, I think.
So, yeah, no more questions.
Okay, thanks very much, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Really useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris.
You're very welcome. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? No. Right. Okay. Well, thank you for.
I think it's time to put the kettle on, isn't it?
Yeah. Thanks for listening for my yakketing away.
No, it's really informative, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
If anybody wants a bit of news, Michael Gove's been sacked.
Oh, been sacked? As opposed to leaving voluntarily. Yeah. Will there be anybody left by tomorrow lunchtime? I don't know.
Oh, well. Yeah, he's on his way out.
Okay, well, I'm going to disappear off now, so goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye. Ruth, you're saving the file?
Yeah, I'm saving it. It's all recorded.
Peter, Rick's not showing, so he's hiding somewhere.
We'll be sending out the blackmail messages very shortly.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, good night, everybody.
Night all. Cheers.
Take care. Bye.